first statement we'll explore today comes from Ivan, who claims that Nikola Jokic is still the leading candidate for MVP at this moment. Nikola Jokic is clearly an all-time great in the making, already a three-time winner of the league's MVP award, and his performance speaks volumes on the offensive side, showcasing a level we've rarely witnessed before. However, this year, various factors suggest that he may be stepping back in the MVP contention. The Oklahoma City Thunder currently hold the best record in the league halfway through the season, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been performing exceptionally well, placing himself at the peak of the MVP rankings as we speak. For good reason, Shai is leading the NBA in scoring this season, with an average of 32 points per game. He continues to be highly efficient, hitting 53% of his shots. As a guard, he's deadly in the mid-range and near the basket, boasting an extraordinary level of body control to evade defenders. His contribution to winning at the highest level is clearly evident, so he meets all the criteria an MVP contender should fulfill. If the current situation persists throughout the remainder of the season, Shai will undoubtedly claim his inaugural MVP award. A lot can shift between now and then. The mix of top-tier performance on one of the league's finest teams has consistently been the best formula for MVP discussions, giving Shai a distinct edge over Jokic in this year's competition. Currently, Jokic and the Nuggets sit in fourth place in the West, which is decent, but there is a noticeable gap between them and the top-ranked Thunder. Nevertheless, the Nuggets are just 2.5 games behind the second seed, and if they manage to secure the second spot in the West by season's end, the distinction between first and second may not be sufficient for voters to ignore the extraordinary season that Jokic is having individually. Joyce is a three-time MVP and is undeniably experiencing his best career season. He's averaging 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists per game, effortlessly achieving triple-doubles and doing so while shooting 57% from the field and a career-high 47% from beyond the arc. Such production is hard to dismiss, so if Shai's winning argument starts to weaken, then Jokic could certainly re-enter the conversation for this accolade. The next topic we'll discuss today is from Paul, who claims that Steph Curry is no longer a top 20 player in the NBA. After being the premier point guard in the league for almost a decade, Curry began to decline somewhat last season, leading to these sorts of opinions gradually appearing every so often. When Curry decided to compete in the Olympics this summer, he was arguably the finest American player in the entire tournament, showcasing his skills and consistently delivering clutch performances. However, that narrative faded quickly as he demonstrated that he still possesses that greatness. The issue, however, lies in the fact that it is significantly more challenging to maintain that level of play throughout an 82-game season compared to a 6-game series in a summer event. Similar to last season, the Warriors find themselves in a precarious position within the Western Conference standings, urgently seeking a place in the play-in tournament, where they currently sit in 11th place, just outside the qualifying zone. As currently constituted, they don't appear to have the necessary firepower to make a serious playoff run, let alone reach the finals if they manage to qualify for the playoffs at all. To have a shot at success, they would need the version of Curry we witnessed during the Olympics. But right now, we are seeing perhaps the least effective version of him since Steve Kerr took over as head coach. Curry is averaging only 22 points per game, the lowest since 2012, and as he ages, his ability to create separation is diminishing. It is increasingly unrealistic to rely on him to fill the gaps in a flawed roster. He lacks a true co-star to alleviate the scoring burden, and the team's role players don't possess the shot creation skills to offset Curry's output. His 22 points per game currently places him 26th in the league, which brings us back to the original point. Curry's most notable strength has always been that he's a superior shooter and scorer compared to nearly everyone else. If he doesn't even rank among the top 20 in metrics that gauge those abilities, it lends credibility to the argument that he may no longer be a top 20 player in general. This year, we are witnessing a significant shift in the hierarchy, with players like LaMelo Ball and Cade Cunningham moving up in the point guard rankings, Victor Wembanyama solidifying his status as a superstar, and Darius Garland regaining his all-star level, contributing to the best team in the East. Moreover, there are numerous other well-known players that are outpacing Steve as well. For now, I'm not ready to dismiss Curry entirely, but it does appear to be trending that way unless circumstances change. Lastly, the final viewpoint we will examine today comes from Baton, who asserts that the 76ers will discover a method to turn their season around and make an impact in the playoffs. This season has been a complete disaster for Philadelphia in almost every aspect, yet there have been several moments when it seemed like everyone was ready to lose hope on them for good. They take measures to draw fans back in, possibly providing a misleading sense of optimism after their disastrous season led them to a Christmas Day game against the reigning champion Boston Celtics, where they were anticipated to be decisively defeated. Instead, they astonishingly managed to secure an upset victory on the road against Boston, demonstrating that this team could create some noise if fully healthy. However, since then, Joel Embiid's injury struggles have persisted as he strained a bone in his foot shortly thereafter and hasn't played since. This resulted in a 7-game losing streak, derailing the momentum they had generated, which set the stage for their recent game against the leading Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, without Embiid on the floor, outcomes weren't expected to differ significantly. Yet they somehow pulled off another upset win, highlighted by impressive performances from Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. Suddenly, it appeared there could be some hope ahead. The Sixers are currently a game and a half away from a spot in the play-in tournament, so they're likely to qualify for that at the very least. Still, I would advise caution regarding any further expectations. Joel Embiid requires a prolonged period of relative health before any of these discussions can commence. However, if or when that occurs, it's not unreasonable to consider them as a potential surprise team. If the Sixers manage to enter the playoffs as the 8th seed, they've demonstrated that they can compete effectively against the Cavaliers when their top players perform well, which would be a complete nightmare for Cleveland following their current season. The Sixers possess more athletic wings than the Cavaliers, and Joel Embiid has consistently troubled their big men over the years. While the Sixers lack solid answers for Cleveland's all-star guard duo, the series would likely be more competitive than many believe if Embiid is healthy. However, that's as far as I'm willing to go because Boston has consistently bested them in the playoffs whenever they faced off, which is a challenge all 29 other teams also need to overcome. With that said, that's all I have for you today. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below your thoughts on the discussed opinions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.